With Assassin's Creed Odyssey reaching its end, there's really nothing left to do except a couple of dailies, some of the weeklies, the weekly resets, things of that nature, a couple of builds, get things that maybe you don't have, try to work it out. It kind of begs the question, what is going to happen in the future? We know what's going to happen in the future of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We know we're waiting on some content and whatnot. But what is going to happen to the franchise in future games? So there are a couple of things that I would like to see changed, brought back, or altered for future games. And this is going to be my list of what I would like to see. Now, you know, feel free to either agree or disagree with me, because a lot of the things that I want to see will have differing opinions. Some people really will not be into it. Some people will be into it. It all depends on the type of player you are and the type of game style you have. And again, like I've said before, there really is no wrong way to play this game. It's a lot of fun. You know, some people would argue it's not fun because they feel that past entries are much better games. And we'll explore that. I'm Dark Strider, the YouTube Assassin. And let's look at 10 things that I think they should have either changed or brought back in future games. Yep, we're going to start with controversy already. For me, at number 10 is bringing back the present day narrative. We really have to have more of this. Honestly, I know a lot of you guys are going to like disagree with me, and that's fine. You know, feel free to like post your opinions and everything on the comment section. Let me know what you think. But for me, what happens is that this whole thing is basically the whole entire Assassin's Creed series is based on the present day. The formula has always been the Templars are out to get some kind of relic or something to rule the world. The assassins find out about it, and they do some work in order to discover what's going on. Now, for some reason, they took this out. It doesn't make as prominent an appearance as it does in Odyssey. And the thing is that this actually drives the narrative forward. This actually helps us to understand why we're going into the past. I know a lot of you really enjoy just basically fighting and everything like that, but for me, this basically helped us to understand why we're in the past. It helps us to understand why we're following a specific person. Otherwise, it's kind of just a game about the past, and we really can't enjoy the whole assassin aspect of it. Why were people complaining that Cassandra didn't have the hidden blade if it's not an Assassin's Creed game? It's basically just a fighting game. It's basically just some kind of brawler slash RPG. The present day drives the narrative. It gives them insight. It gives them a kind of foreshadowing for what happens in the past. And it's brilliant. Really, when Assassin's Creed Odyssey was first being announced, we were hearing something like there was going to be over 60 hours of gameplay in the present day alone. That would have been incredible. That would have been absolutely amazing. And honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if we had an Assassin's Creed game set in a present day setting. Imagine a 2020 setting, 2021, 2019 setting where you're an assassin doing assassin-y things. I think that would be cool. But, you know, some of you are not of that opinion. Some of you do not think that's a good idea. And by all means, you're allowed to have an opinion. Please drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Tell me what you like or don't like about that idea. I want to hear your ideas. But for now, let's move on to the next thing. And now for me at number 9, let's return to the lore. The lore was really, really important to me in Assassin's Creed. Whenever you did anything in Assassin's Creed, there was always something in regards to the lore of the series. And that to me was absolutely incredible. You really could not do anything unless you really got into the lore of the whole thing. The lore pushed a lot of the narrative forward. It helped with a lot of the story, letting us know what's going on, what's happening in the past. There were so many things that were just missing from the current Assassin's Creed games, where we don't have a lot of like the lore of what was going on. As you can see, it was so interactive. Here's Assassin's Creed 2, and as you can see, there were like so many different things that you could learn just reading a codex page that you found. You would think it's like nothing, but it actually has stuff on it. Like here, page 2, no text data, zoom to see image. You would zoom to see the image, and there you go. There's a little pictorial story. As you can see, assassins and Templars battling each other. And that's what Assassin's Creed was all about. While I do enjoy a lot of what's going on in the next Assassin's Creed games that followed, like what happens in, Origins and Odyssey, it's cool and all. But the thing is that let's get a return to the lore. Let's see what is going on, what's happening. Odyssey really took a million steps away from the lore, whereas Origins still maintained some of it. There were still Templars, but there was no real assassins group. And Odyssey, I thought we were going to figure out how the Templars came to be, and we didn't. We just got a bunch of these strange organizations that, we probably will not see again in later series. Now, in Assassin's Creed 2, in that trilogy, the Ezio trilogy, there are other organizations. There is that little pack of wolfmen, the followers of Mars. So, there is a place for other groups and stuff like that. We can't just imagine that the Templars work alone, or that they don't have subdivisions, or that there aren't other hideous and nefarious organizations that are trying to rule the world as well. But let's keep the lore basic. Let's get back to the lore. Let's get back to the origins of what was going on. I still want to see the apple. I still want to see everything that was happening. I want to know about the Isu, but I want to know what was going on, basically. We need to get back to the lore. That's very important for these games. Now, in at number 8, and I feel that this is very important, is the return of the Hidden Blade. A lot of people were turned off to Assassin's Creed when we lost the Hidden Blade. Now, Origins, you started off without the Hidden Blade, but they show that you eventually get it and you're able to upgrade it, which is cool. Odyssey, complete lack of it. Now, you did have the Broken Spear of Leonidas, which kind of acted like the Hidden Blade, but let's face it, it's not the Hidden Blade. All right, we definitely need the Hidden Blade in the games. It makes it a lot of fun, even though there are times where like the Staff of Leonidas really did act like the Hidden Blade. That was fine, but there's nothing more fun than actually performing an assassin action with the Hidden Blade. And I would like to see what we saw in previous games. I would like to see advancements in the Hidden Blade, like double blades and poison darts being shot from the blade, guns being shot from the blade. That kind of stuff was actually cool. So it just would be awesome if they focused on that. In Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when we got the Legacy of the First Blade DLC and we met Darius, we had an opportunity to see the Hidden Blade. We had an opportunity. A lot of people speculated we were going to get the Hidden Blade, and we didn't. And the thing was that I could kind of see why they didn't do that. They didn't do it because it would kind of be difficult to just explain further gameplay with the Hidden Blade. So they just left it out altogether. Right now we're focusing on the brand new game. The brand new game is supposed to be a Viking game, which I feel is kind of out of place right now. I kind of feel like they should have went with what they thought it was going to be originally in Rome, in which we were going to kind of tie up the loose ends of both Origins and Odyssey. To me, that would have made more sense. But they decided to go with Vikings. Now, the Vikings are a little more closer to the present day, which means that they will have already had the hidden blade. So we will definitely see it. Well, I'm not going to say definitely because who knows with Ubisoft? They might get a great idea and decide they don't need the hidden blade or anything like that, or it's a certain sect of assassins that do not have it. So, that's one of the things that we definitely need to see back. I would love to see it back. It is a lot of fun to use the hidden blade. And like I said, I don't just want the hidden blade, I want the upgrades with the hidden blade. That would be cool. So in at number 7, and this is something that is just very big to me, honestly. Way less grind. Okay? Uh, I love RPGs, honestly. I'm not going to lie to you. I played all of the Final Fantasy games, all the Phantasy Stars, a bunch of JRPGs. I love them. I really do. I greatly enjoy them. But this grind to get to 99 was ridiculous, especially in a world where you have this map and there's things just all over the place. The only thing you can really get, like everything covered basically, is everything here on Kefalonia. Once you leave there, it's just a mishmash. You have to like run around everywhere and like do all these things and whatnot. Some of them really have no purpose. There's no story behind it. You're just out there and you're doing it. You're, sleeping with goats and, obtaining roots for old couples to have ancient Viagra and killing sharks and diving underwater and doing all these things. And there really is no method to the madness. There really is no story behind everything. There is a story as to why you're doing certain things. You just don't go out there and you do them. I mean, you can just go to every one of these camps and murder all the bandits or whatever is around there. You could do that. But the thing is that they're really, in order to like really make us want to touch base with all this stuff, there really should be some kind of story behind like all these little things. And then there should be like more reward. I'm the type of person that whenever I play an RPG, I always, like don't just defeat the last boss at whatever, like current level I am. If I got to like level 50 and there are people that are beating it at level 40 and everything, that's fine. I like to still go out there and grind out enough XP because it still happens quick enough where I can enjoy the game. I could do it at my own leisure and I can still hit 99 and defeat the boss and have the best gear and stuff like that. And then in regular RPGs, there's also a lot of end game stuff where you could find a bunch of secrets. You could find and fight a bunch of hidden bosses. You could do things like that. And they really don't have stuff like that here in Odyssey. You did have the main game, which made no sense, where you were supposed to go and reunite your family. That, if you think about it, was the main goal of Odyssey. Think about that. Think back. Play through it again. That was the main goal. Finding Atlantis was the last minute thing. Finding Atlantis, well, not exactly the last minute thing, but that was like a secondary option. You would come to Atlantis, you would then meet Pythagoras, and then you would go and hunt down the 4 orbs from the other, the Minotaur, the Cyclops, the Sphinx, Medusa, and, that really had no story either. You collected those orbs, and again, this is going back to, like returning to the lore and to more present-day storyline. We didn't know what we were doing with those. We didn't know what they were for. We didn't know what purpose they were. Why did Cassandra just take these orbs and not even question it? Just say, hey, you know what? I've got a bunch of pretty orbs. I'm going to bring it to Pythagoras and put it in these walls and see what happens. That, is kind of crazy. And the grinding, as far as like how much XP you need in order to reach the next level, that was kind of crazy, even without bonuses or anything like that. Even if you did everything in the game and everything, before any of the glitches, before any of the XP farms, like most of us really went out there and we really grinded out the XP all the way to 99. It was a goal. It was great. It's nice that Ubisoft wanted us to be in the game that long, but it was way too grindy, and you really didn't get a chance to like really enjoy exploration and what's out there in the world. Greece is huge, and you really didn't get to go out there and just like explore it and just do things randomly. And oh my God, I just got 40,000 XP just for doing this. No, you had to like specifically, systematically hunt these things out, and that just made it way too grindy. Games should not be that grindy. They really shouldn't. And at number 6, I want more opportunities to earn the in-store items. Now, in Origins, all you had to do was do a daily. You would speak to Retta here. He would give you a mission. You would go out, complete the mission. Then you would interact with him. You completed the daily, and there was a chance he gave you a legendary.
You'll have better use of it.
So this is actually cool. Now, this is either a legendary that you get in the game, or it's something that you could purchase off of the Ubisoft store. Now, you would have other opportunities to do that by coming over here to his bazaar, going to buy, and then going to the Heka chest, where you would pay drachma, which was in this game, and you would make the purchase, and it would give you an item. It gave you a chance at either getting a rare or a legendary item. And this was actually kind of cool, because in many times, if you had the excess money to spend, you could just come here and do this all day, and you would be able to earn as many legendaries as you want. Sometimes they would wait weeks before they put the current in-store items up, so that you couldn't get them right away. You could get a lot of the older ones. But this was actually like really cool. It was a cool way of doing this. And, once they figured out the hack where you could just keep returning here for like the daily, you would shut off your internet connection. You would then turn it back on. He would give you the quest over again, even though you just completed it. You would speak to him, and then you would get the item, plus you would get the experience points and the drachma for defeating it. That's when they came out with the new system, which was going and obtaining ore in order to get, a shot at getting any of these items. Now, the ore really is really, really limited. Even if you picked up every piece of it off of the map, it was still very limited. This way, you have a little more chance of doing it, but, you had to go out there and you had to actually get some money. So you may be farming for money in order to do these things, but to me, this was like a little more fair than the current ore system. The current ore system, like I said, you're very limited. And how many times do we look for legendaries and we oftentimes get epics rather than legendaries? We need a better system for this. Even if I put in like a little extra work in order to earn extra ore to get stuff like that, other than weeklies or something like that, do like special quests or something like that. Do like a special quest that, it gives you a certain legendary item specifically, or even some extra ore, or even a chance to trade maybe some of the drachmi, or whatever the currency is in the next game. We could trade that for whatever ore or whatever they're going to come up with, so that way we have more chances and we're kind of more engaged in the game in order to get those legendaries. A lot of people have well over like 10,000 pieces of that ore just sitting there because they're waiting for the weekly reset to buy something worth it, rather than spending it gambling away at the Ecos of the Olympians. We definitely need a better chance. Some people really don't have the money to spend on the store, and I get that. But, like some people, they see, like all the gear and whatnot, they see all this incredible stuff, and, they want it. It's kind of hard when you're like trying to get all this stuff and you're very limited in your actions that you could take in order to purchase them. So once again, definitely we need a better system. So here we are halfway through, and at number 5, we need more side scrollers. No, I'm kidding. I'm seriously kidding. Don't do that unless you're going to make it like its own thing. This is not really an Assassin's Creed game. It is, but it isn't. It's kind of fun, but this is not the direction we should be going. Don't do that. Yeah, definitely no side scrollers. But in all seriousness, in at number 5 is going to be the creation of the Templar organization. I would love to see how the Templars came to be. A lot of us speculated over here that these cultists would become the Templars, the cult of Cosmos. And it actually was a great kind of like, speculation. It would have been awesome if they would have became the Templars, but they didn't. Instead, we get to the end of their storyline. We find out who the leader is, and the leader either asks us to help them out, or you get to fight them, and it makes no sense. It's like, why? What was the point of that ending? I think we could learn a lot from the Templars' creation. I think it would be a lot of fun to see how they came about, where they started and whatnot. As far as the other cult here, they didn't become the Templars either, and I don't know. It just would have been cool to see their side of the story, their side of the coin, and how their head came into power. I think that would make for a great game, or at least a great backstory to whatever game goes on in the future. That is going to be epic if we ever get that. So right now, in at number 4, I've said this before on several different videos, including videos that I did when this game first came out. We should have double-sided adventures. We should be able to see both sides of the story. Now, we know that Cassandra is the canon assassin. She is the main character. She is the canon character. Now, Alexios, while he's still a part of the story, is not the main character. He's the main, well, I don't want to say the main antagonist, but he is one of the major big bads in the game as Cassandra makes her way to piece her family back together. Now, what comes with this is the fact that in the beginning of the game, you get to choose who you want to be. So if you decide to play as Alexios, then Cassandra is Deimos. And if you decide to play as Cassandra, then Alexios is Deimos. Now, what's wrong with that? Well, besides the fact that, it's just kind of confusing, because how do you go forward when you have this as the canon character and this is not the canon character, but you meet them like they're canon later on as you defeat the game? It's kind of confusing. What would have been better is if this is going to be your canon character, that's fine. Let us play through her story, but also let us play through his side of the story. Let us see what it was like growing up as Deimos. Let us see why he took the name Deimos instead of Alexios, and why nobody seems to care that he is the brother of the Eagle Bearer. Why is it that this information is left out of the game? Like, there should be so many plot points and stories and everything behind it. It would be, absolutely amazing. This was actually a missed opportunity on Ubisoft's part, honestly. It doesn't matter, like which one you play as, let's not be sexist. Let's not play the whole sexism game, or, whatever you want to get into as far as like sex goes. The main thing is that we had an opportunity to have basically 2 games in one. And don't tell me it can't be done, because when Rogue and Unity released, it was pretty much at the same time. And what happened was that Rogue was for the last gen consoles, PS3 and Xbox 360, and Unity was for the next gen at the time consoles, PS4 and the Xbox One. So you could release 2 games, which was kind of confusing to me initially, because I didn't know if it was the same game, just called a different name for the, depending on which console you owned. It was actually that they created 2 separate games, and each one was pretty much a side of the coin. They were interrelated with each other. So, I mean, Ubisoft, The technology is there. I'm pretty sure it would have been well worth the money, even if instead of like $60 US, it was like $80 US. Yeah, that would get you like a special edition or, you know, some kind of like extras added to the game. But in a situation like this, real diehard fans, they may pay that, or they may even be a lot more appreciative if you kept it at the regular price and you gave us a double-sided story. That would have been absolutely amazing. That would have engaged us, especially Ubisoft. And listen closely, I know how much you like your little microtransactions in the Ubisoft store. We could have had separate gear for Alexios and Cassandra that you could purchase instead of them having the same exact gear. I'm pretty sure it would have been cool to see him in some evil gear and her in some heroic gear. That would have been like absolutely amazing. So let's try to aim for something like that in the future. Let's aim for like a double-sided story. Don't make it any less long than what it is. I still want to put my, 250 plus hours into the game, depending. As long as it's not really, really grindy, as long as I'm like really enjoying it and like exploring a lot and stuff like that. And then it would be nice to just go back and forth when I get bored. That would have been awesome. So let's see if that happens in the future. And at number 3, and I touched upon this a little bit earlier in the video, I would love to actually see other organizations. That would actually be kind of cool. Now, we know about the Templars. I would love to see them have like the Templar creation. That would be fantastic. But what about other organizations? Aren't there other organizations that the Templars work with or fight against besides the Assassins? Maybe there are other organizations that are like really trying to stymie the Templars. They know of the Templars and they're out to get the Templars themselves so that they can rule the world. Why not? We saw in this game, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, how the cultists actually worked on and off with the Order of the Ancients and how they kind of had a rivalry and whatnot. So that kind of made the game interesting. You have these two separate organizations that interact and whatnot. I thought that that was kind of cool. Now, besides that, we also saw in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, if you have the Ezio trilogy or if you've played it back then, they have the Followers of Mars, which are like another organization. They don't exactly work with or against the Templars, but they're out there and they know of Ezio and they try to stymie his efforts and whatnot. So maybe they actually are a paid off group by the Templars back then, or maybe they were a group that would promised power in exchange for like defeating Ezio or something like that. I would love to see other groups. That actually would be really, really cool. Just to see them either go head to head for supremacy or even just, one works for the other, things of that nature. Anything to like get the assassins and kind of, mess up their efforts, I think would be kind of cool just to see how that works out. It really makes for like some great drama behind the scenes. Now, this is something I know a lot of people would agree to, and I can't emphasize this enough. Now that we have the final installment of The Fate of Atlantis, I think that we really do need to explore more of the Isu. We need to know more about this race. We now know that if you really paid attention to the Atlantis DLC, that all of Atlantis really deals with the Isu. These people are Isu. And the other people, the humans, are Isu creations. So we need to know more about what's going on. We kind of know that Atlantis was kind of like Eden in Assassin's Creed 2, and it was destroyed. And we know that Aletheia was the reason it was destroyed. But look how awesome this is. We need to get into other details. We need to know what happened with other groups, other Isu sects. I need to know why and how humanity escaped all these areas and went into the world. And are there any areas where humanity remains about the outside world. They don't even know that they're still inside of an Isu construct. Are there any Isu that survived? Maybe the Isu all died and they think that, these are the gods that will soon return. What is going on? I need to know more about the Isu, and I really need these people to really, really be amazing. I can speculate, I can get a couple of ideas, I could draw conclusions, but the thing is that when you see stuff like this and you see how amazingly it was all built and everything, you want to know the method behind the madness. Why these domes? Why the underworld? Why did they hide and make themselves appear as our ancient gods? What is going on? I need to know this stuff. That would be absolutely cool. And again, that would be a return to lore, a return to form that Assassin's Creed really needs to get back to so that we have all that information. That would be absolutely epic and a game well worth the money. Absolutely well worth the money. Oh man, tacos are so good. No, I'm just kidding. As much as I love tacos and I love lowering nation power, that's not what I want at number one. In at number one is actually No Limits. Now, this is a skill tree from Assassin's Creed Origins. You can see it's pretty basic. You just collect what you want, what you need, and stuff like that. They cost anywhere from 1 to 3 ability points, and that's how you purchase these skill trees. Now, Odyssey took it a step forward where there were 3 tiers on most of them, and that was actually kind of cool. So, I mean, I agree with that. That would be awesome. Once you get the ability, you could enhance the ability, you could do a little more with the ability, and carry on. But one of the main things that I really loved about Origins was this right here. Every skill point that you put in one of these 3 masteries gave you an additional 1% on whatever, depending on how many skill points you bought. So you can technically get an infinite amount of skill points and put it into these 3 masteries. So this one, Master Warrior, you can see it increases the damage of your melee attacks by an additional 1%. So that means I have 130% plus as far as damage goes with any of my warrior abilities or my melee abilities. Over here, Master Seer, plus 1% on flesh decay, poison darts, fire bombs, fire. So any of those tools, whenever I use them, they would do major, major damage. I could actually literally stand in the arena in Assassin's Creed Origins with a poison shield, stay still, and all the enemies would just kill themselves bumping into my shield. So that's actually kind of cool, And then we go over here to Hunter, and you see it gives an additional 1% damage to all of your bows, which is also pretty cool. Imagine shooting your fire arrows, whatever, and it's doing all that extra damage. That would be cool. I would love to see infinite stuff like that. Now, Odyssey did take it a step forward where they did have a mastery section, but you could only put 20 points in each mastery section. Well, you know what? Give me the opportunity and the ability to just do that infinitely. That is not for everybody. Everybody is not going to go and fill up their entire skill tree like I did, or, obtain every single mastery point. You're not going to do it. This one in Origins, I did this just playing the game, doing a new game plus, continuing on, and stuff like that. And as you can see, it really isn't that grindy. The max level here was 55, which was cool at the time. The map was huge, but it wasn't too huge. And there were a lot of stories that interacted with each other to make sense of what's going on in this world and really connecting you to it. That's one of the things that I loved about Origins that Odyssey really needs to get into, which is why I even started, doing this top 10. I'm looking forward to the future and future games having this kind of thing. But I really, really enjoy the abilities. I enjoy how it enhances the gameplay and the game itself. Now, some people are going to say, well, why would you want to be OP? Which is what a lot of people said when Origins first came out. Why would you want to be so OP? Why would you want to do that? You know why? Because it's always kind of cool to see how far you can push the character. Some people find that to be a lot of fun, okay? There was a developer who actually said, hey, you know, we did this with a purpose so that you could continue to get these points. You could continue to put them into different things. And, you know, hopefully, eventually, I would love to see somebody one-shot a elephant in this game, a war elephant. A war elephant in this game, for those who have not played it, is a ginormous creature in the game. And it does take some effort to take them down. But if you're very skilled and whatnot, or if you have a lot of ability points with your swords and stuff like that, you could take it down in a couple of swipes. Now, bare-fisted one-punching it, that would be absolutely incredible. That would be awesome. Getting enough ability points for your arrows so that you could like just shoot one arrow at a god and kill it immediately, that would be kind of awesome. You know, again, not everybody has that play style. Not everybody is going to be content with just, you know, continuously like grinding for like these kind of points to put it in abilities. You know, this game was way less grindy, so you're able to get a lot more ability points in this game than you were in Odyssey. Odyssey was very, very grindy, and you know, you ended up doing things not out of pleasure. You ended up doing things out of necessity, and you missed certain things, and you just kept leveling. It was kind of a pain. It was, you know, that's one of the things I didn't like. If you're grinding for your own, just out of your own curiosity, if you're grinding just because you want to, that makes it more fun. You know, if you're grinding because you have to reach a goal, it kind of sucks. You know, if you have to hit 99, if you have to be able to get all these other ability points so you can make a build, if you have to grind, it's nonsense. It's just a pain. But if you're grinding because you want to, you're grinding because, you know, you see a goal that's, you know, closer in reach and stuff like that, you're more likely to like do it and stuff like that, you know. So I don't want to confuse you as far as grinding goes. You know, hey, you said that the game was too grindy, but you want to grind. Yeah, in my own time and at my own leisure, for my own necessities, for my own goals, not because it's part of the game and I really have to meet the game's goal and the game standard, you know. So again, I would love to see like a superpowered being. Right now, as it stands, my Bayek in Origins is more of a god than Cassandra is, because he just has the ability. I could pick this up a year from now and max all these out, which actually there is no max to it. I know people who have like 10,000 XP in each one, or 10,000 mastery points in each one of these things. So, you know, not only can they one punch a warhorse, if there was a flock of warhorses, if we had story mode creator here and they put a flock of warhorses in one arena, people could one punch those, just a whole flock. It would be absolutely amazing. It's just kind of cool when you do those kind of things, you know. So that's just me. Anyway, that's it for like my 10 things that I'd love to see happen in the next Assassin's Creed video. Let me know what you think. Is there anything that you wanted to see in the next video game? Is there anything that I left out? Is there anything that you wouldn't go with, that you disagree with? Seriously, let me know. You're allowed to have an opinion. I love to hear your opinions. You know, it's great. Let's debate about it. I'd love to hear from you. So definitely, like I said, drop those in the comments below. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Tell your friends and family to like and subscribe, because again, it helps us out. You're supporting your YouTube assassin. And speaking of supporting the YouTube assassin, if you are so inclined, if you have a couple extra bucks, why not check out the link in my description below and visit Beautiful Halo. They are a sponsor of mine, and you will get a discount depending on the code that you use and what you spend. They have different articles of clothing. You could actually look like an assassin. They have some pretty Assassin's Creed official hoods that just look absolutely amazing. I bought a couple myself. If you don't want to walk around with like an Assassin's Creed hoodie or t-shirt or anything like that, they also have other video game related clothing, other t-shirts and whatnot. Things like Borderlands and Fortnite, things of that nature. Probably. And if you're not into any of that, you could actually pick up some regular clothing from them. They actually have like a bunch of other clothes, cute things. Lady Strider went and just burned through my whole credit card buying a whole bunch of gear, and I can't even be mad because it actually looks great. So anyway, again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave in those comments below, what do you think? What did I miss? What would you argue? And what would you like to see? As always, thank you for watching.